Call the City of Clewiston Commission meeting to order. It is Monday, May 20th at 5 p.m., 2024. If you would, stand with me and we'll have a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we come before you and just ask your leading and guiding today in this meeting. Lord, just ask for your wisdom in every decision that we have to make. And Lord, we thank you for this city, those that serve in it. We thank you for our first responders especially, and we ask that you keep them safe. Father, we give you the honor and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, any changes to the agenda?
Nope, not this time here.
All right. Public comments. At this time, if anyone would like to speak concerning any issue in the city, or if you choose to, you can wait to the agenda item number and speak at that time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. You look it over, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, motion by Highslope, second by Thompson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have a couple of resolutions tonight. Resolution 2024-034. I'll read that by title. A resolution of the City of Clewiston, of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston designating Mayor James Pittman, Interim City Manager Danny Williams, City Clerk Mary Kay Combest, and Finance Director Randy Maxon as authorized signatories for all accounts maintained at the city depository banks. This is something just pretty standard that we do when we have a change of the guard, so to speak. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Highslope, second by Edmonds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
You know something, Mayor? Maybe we're bringing up next agenda where we sign. It's not really what this is about, but it's about where we sign off for like 25,000. I'd like to increase that maybe to 100,000. Everything out there today costs a fortune, and 25,000 it holds us up on jobs, especially electric side transformers and so to speak. But I'd like to try to think of that and do that maybe next meeting.
Okay. Can we maybe look around and see if other cities are going that high?
I can just tell you off the cuff, it's pretty standard. I know at least some of them are at like 75,000 mark. It'd be discretionary as to where you want to set that limit, the discretionary limit at. If you want a more comprehensive, I can bring you back a list of where other municipalities are at. But,
It runs the gamut. Some are 10.
yeah, they have been going up in recent years.
Yeah.
Well, the cost of things certainly has.
Mhm.
So, yeah, 125, Dylan.
125.
125.
Okay, yeah, we'll think about it, but yeah,
Sure.
bring it back to us. And
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, item 3 is resolution 2024-035. I'll read that by title. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving the agreement for water meter installation services with Aqua Meter Consultant LLC and authorizing the mayor to sign. You want to fill us in, Danny, on?
I think I'm going to let Lynn. She's been working with these guys. Thank you, Lynn.
So this just ended up to be kind of a really great concurring kind of, I don't know, sequence of events. But we have Aquameter coming on site 2 weeks to start doing the lead service line field investigation. And that contract's going to be paid by rural water. So that's $200,000 roughly. The contracts were for them to be already mobilized on site. And they're going to be digging up our 4-box meters while they're here and And because of that, while we've got them on site, we asked them for a proposal to go ahead and do the rest of those meter box change outs. We got some fantastic pricing. I think we're leveraging that other contract. It comes to, you can see in the proposal, it's about $150 per box, including the box swap and meter. And I looked at it. We got proposals from other contractors, and the next closest one was $100,000 more. We looked at a piggyback contract, local contractor. We even calculated it in-house, and it comes to doing 2 workers. An hour's work comes to about $61 an hour. And if you figure that takes, if you gave them conservatively 2 hours to do a meter box swap, that cost would come out at $156,000. And that's if we can even devote the 2 guys for another year or 2 years to do 1,200 meters.
And
I don't even know how long.
And if you
it
could
would take
manage
them
them
to
and
do it.
hold them to 2 hours.
Yeah, so, this just looks like, and we have to kind of go back to that return on investment that Quanta did for us when we decided to do the contract in the beginning. And the savings, if we can just push through, we have all of the meters out there, then we have all of those savings. No more meter reading, water loss. I forget some of the other things. Billing revenue, we'll be getting more water billing revenue. So the sooner we get this done, the long-term savings are going to be, it's going to pay for itself. So it just seems like a really good opportunity to sign this contract and move forward with them.
It'd be really
we had
nice.
some great references as well. In fact, Casey's from Quanta recommended Aquameter. And it's just kind of weird. It's like a small world or something, but the project manager that we had initially from EPA also is a reference for this company. So, they seem to be well-established. I think,
It'd be great to have the water done.
and it would be fantastic. Yeah, even though it's just a fourth of the water meters that we have left to do, the return is still not there yet, because every cycle we still have to send somebody out there to read this handful of meters. And also we're going to have to pay for those meters to sit out there in the warehouse, until we get them installed and put to work. You're not doing us any good except our money, holding our money.
And we do have the funds for this project, so we are covered.
When's the projected date we'll have all these done?
Well, they're estimating 4 to 6 techs. If they deploy June 1st, I think it's reasonable to think they could do it in 7-8 months. But they're going to be on site this week, and we're going to talk about the schedule and try to get those details nailed down.
That's another thing. They can do it 125 per meter,
150, I think they're estimating,
150.
with the meter box.
and they said they would dedicate 6 techs full time to get that done.
4 to 6. 4 to 6. That's our first preliminary call last week.
That's what UPA was, Greg. It was a pretty good number.
Is there any penalty for not finishing within our timeline?
We have in the contract a liquidated damages clause that's about $1,000 a day if it goes timeline. But if y'all approve the contract today, then we can meet with Aquameter and go over those details and make sure they don't want to be here any longer than we want them here. And another thing about this is they're familiar with our Insight, our billing, the work order management system. And we have a contract with Insight to continue with the management plan. So it'll be kind of seamless, I hope. They'll come in and we'll still have all that billing integration going on the back end. So, that is another reason to push through now while we've got the access to that work order management system. All those meters up into the billing system.
Great job, Lynn.
Sounds good.
All around. Thanks.
Can't wait to get it finished.
Well, I'm impressed at that short a time. I was really thinking the water would be 3 years, 2 to 3 years. But, it's really worked out for us really well.
Who's responsible if a meter gets damaged? Is it a homeowner or?
Damaged house. You installing it or?
No, like running it over or
It depends. I mean, accidents are accidents. I mean, but they go out there to tamper, they're going to get a tamper fee.
if we get an alert on those water meters like we do power. We will.
We caught several already.
In the past we talked about increasing those fines and fees, so that it kind of got kicked down the road and around the bush and over the tree.
We can discuss it tonight and put it in next meeting, whatever you want. I'm good. I mean, you want $1,000 a pop or whatever you want. I think it should hit them hard.
I mean, if somebody puts their hands on the meter and does what we've experienced in the recent past, that's a criminal offense in my view, and there's no mistaking it. There's no accident. It's malice.
Sure. Sure.
So tampering electric is a felony.
Yes.
So
I mean, what would you like to see, or would you want us to think about it?
I know.
I mean, we put it on the next. We'll put it on the next. We'll put it on the next agenda, and we'll have
What's the current fine?
250, then 500. Second time.
Don't cover
We
that.
try to have them, which Chief explained to me a little bit. Even though we file a report, because I was thinking, if they write it down, it's basically what is that, Chief? When you like we file a report with you guys, it's almost like an arrest.
So, yeah, there's lots of options. We can arrest them under state law.
Yeah, yeah.
Ask them to go and fine.
Yeah.
If the city sticks with the fines, at least if there's damage, you're recovering, potentially the cost of doing that. Going through the criminal process sometimes is a little bit more frustrating recovering those funds. But right now, there wouldn't need to be a city ordinance for us to arrest them. If they try to tamper with the meter and it's obvious that their intent is to steal electricity, the reality is that whoever city worker finds it that way calls us, we'll do a report, we'll figure out who did it, and we'll take them to jail. It's really pretty simple. It would just be a change in philosophy from fining them to prosecuting them.
Can we look at what Glades Co-op does and Florida Fire and Light?
Sure.
Because there's significant teeth into stealing utilities.
a lot of times, if they damage now these new meters, imagine they're quite more expensive, right?
And what brought this conversation up initially, we had somebody that moved here, thought they were smarter than the city of Clewiston, and they had contractors in their new home they bought and went around the meter, so their contractors could work, do whatever they wanted to, and not have to pay the city of Clewiston. And they got busted. I think they got a $250 fine.
He got busted twice.
Twice.
Yeah. He pulled it immediately. He was hiding the meter from our meter reader. She would take her little binoculars and read it. He kept making it difficult. So this is when we first started smart meters. So we went and put it in. As soon as our technician left, he pulled it. So we went right back over, pulled the meter, told him you got to go pay $250. We filed a report. So he went, put the meter back, and then a day or two he pulled it again, and he was trying to give him 110 just to run the light equipment to
Pulled it off
solve.
one side.
Yeah. So that's what he did, and he put the meter back. So
That's proof that what we have in place is not a deterrent.
Yeah, we're the cops. We like taking people to jail and making the crimes for sure. Just all depends on that philosophical shift. You guys say the word, and we'll fill up the Hendry County Jail, no problem.
okay, good.
Yeah, let's bring it
Thanks,
up
Chief.
at the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll bring it, put it on the agenda. We'll have some numbers.
Okay, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Motion by Evans, second by Hoslope. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we move on to old business. Anything on the the list in the back of the book we want to talk about, add, delete? Okay, hearing nothing. Departmental monthly activity reports. Any of the directors want to report anything at this time?
I would add is along with the fee schedule we have currently for your development fees, put back since 2016. We might have to update that schedule at the same time.
Sure.
It's easy to interpret if you don't look at those fees. We could immediately bring them back to you. Have time to do that, look at it. And we basically just use it. Have a building code journal that's published. Out for it. We're regularly compliant with that. And every 5 years or so, we adjust it. You could adjust it every 6 months, but that's a lot of it. It's been about 8 years since we adjusted.
And these are which ones?
That's our development fees,
Okay.
building permit fees, zoning fees.
When that's
It's done by resolution.
when that's presented, can we have the existing and the markup, the proposed changes?
Yes, it had red lines
compared?
for the recommended. Yes. Look at it. At that time, you could set what the recommended is or anything.
Maybe just a note to other directors, since we are fixing to start our budget process, if there's any fees that need to be changed or looked at, maybe we can do that at the next meeting.
Sure.
Before we. Okay. All right, good. All right, anything else under departments?
I don't know if this is the right time to say anything. I believe a lot of the usual data might be conspicuously missing. I could go through that too. I think that's what we're talking about. Is it? We're almost there. I've almost got my hands around it enough. That in a format that you budget to actual. I didn't know what I was supposed to have for this.
No, you're
Oh, you're good. I
You're
think,
good.
let me
You
see
got
what your date is
I
here.
think you got a 30-minute speech tonight, sir.
A
Yeah.
lot of empty tabs. I feel like I'm responsible for most of
Yeah,
it.
tonight is just a speech, and then next meeting is more numbers. That
We have
sounds
been
good, though.
talking about shortening the budget time, not go every detail. I mean, you guys can overlook everything, but the capital, some of the things that may change, where we may need more money, this type thing, and where we can reduce some money. So we're going to, get with the directors and sit down and then present. Hopefully, we don't go very long. I mean, we're going to try to shorten it up quite a bit.
Well,
So,
be cautious too,
start-
because that's where we started from. Is it really short, a lot of information dumped on your lap, and we actually requested to be extended. But having the actuals and everything in front of us definitely benefits, especially going in that process.
So maybe it's a function of every line item's fine, or pick the items with the largest variances from what we. Budget to actual is pretty good this year, and it's not changing much next year. Maybe that's something. Your call, I guess. What I'm saying, that we go into as much variance of the put line items that you're most interested. We'll have the detail there. It just depends on what areas you're most interested in.
I don't think we definitely don't have to go line by line. We have kind of progressed into where we're at now because it was so concentrated. A few meetings and a lot of information are trying to be at one time. Something.
Yeah, I mean, we have a new team. It may take a year to growing pains, but I'm not interested if the phone bill goes up 0.5%.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
things
that's-
like that.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to talk about what runs the city.
Okay, comments from the city manager?
Well, I'd like to introduce our new employees tonight. Randy Maxon, our finance director. You heard from a little bit, and Ashley Sargent, our director of HR and recreation. I don't know if you guys want to say a little bit, tell what you've been doing, or
Go for it. Do I stand up? Okay.
Yeah, you got to stand
Yeah,
up.
come on.
So my name's Randy Maxon. Danny contacted me and got me on board a few weeks ago, and we've been moving pretty good pace. We've got some plans on a high end. We think we've got some opportunities with like interest income, more than double it easily. It's just a matter of I don't even know what it's a matter of. I don't know if I have permission to just do it
Yeah.
right now since everything exists.
Yes.
You know, all the accounts are in place.
Better comes.
Yeah, it's just transferring money from, in First Bank's case, from a First Bank account that's not earning interest to a First Bank account that is earning interest. In Bank Atlantic's case, transferring money from an account not earning interest maybe to that Florida Prime, which is the state bank. That's paying great interest right now. It's over near 5.5%. And it's the state bank, and we've already got money there, so I don't think it needs resolution.
Just as long as we don't have a contract or something. with-
Oh, we'd never have a cushion problem. You know, that would look really bad on my part if all of a sudden we didn't have enough money to cover something because it's all invested at
I mean, a lot of times we bid out to the banks to give us interest rates to put the money in their bank. I just want to make sure we
We're
don't
tied
have
up.
a limitation on how long we have to keep it there. I don't think we do, but
Danny and I have a meeting with Seacoast in about a week and a half to go over what the requirements are. They're going to come back with, I've already told them that they're not competitive and they need to come back with something more competitive. So we'll see what they say and then we can make a decision after that. First Bank's actually not too bad. We've got an account making some good interest and some other accounts that are not, but that would just be a transfer from one account to another over there. I wouldn't consider really moving money out of there because it's not significant enough. Seacoast is the big one, you know, and it's just a matter of can they come up with something that's competitive with Florida Prime? And I think they can. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. You know, and that's one thing. And another thing that we are working on is we're just finding. I'm trying to think of what did we just find with on the expense side that was looking a little bit unusual. Oh, little things like something I think you might be interested in, utilities. Somehow our credit card fees that we're being charged, you know, to accept payments, you know, that's running $14,000 a month, you know, for the city, and we've kind of got it buried in supplies. And that's something that's like a cost that we can control. It's 160-something thousand a year. Put it in front of y'all to say, is that a convenience fee? Is that something that we present to FMPA or something as far as a charge that would overall adjust our rates? You know, think of the restaurant. You know, when we had the restaurant, it was like, it's just buried in the price of the food, whether you pay cash or credit card. So do we do that, or do we do something to where a fee is added to a credit card charge? But little visibility things like that are kind of lost.
I think as a consumer, though, we already pay a fee.
You pay like $1.50, but that doesn't go to the city. That goes to the Tyler, the processing company.
Usually 3% to the.
Yeah, but the little fee that you know that I pay when I pay my thing, it doesn't go to the city. So we actually have no offset to the $14,000 a month, and that's an example of something where we found that maybe we can add some visibility for y'all to help make a decision. So that's the big thing right now. Still trying to get the nuts and bolts down on the day-to-days, but still taking a few hours each day to find some big picture stuff that makes an impact right away. And I think we're on the right path. And if you have any suggestions on how you think I should allocate time or projects you want me to work on, please let me know. Until then, we're just kind of, you know, we're meeting with Danny almost daily, just trying to push through things right away, like the interest income that can make a big difference with not a lot of effort that's just been overlooked. And then we can get down into, you know, the 80-20 rule, you know, 80% of your, how does that go? It's like 80% of the gains that you get is based on 20% of your effort. And so we want to do that 20% effort now to get 80% of our benefits, and then we'll work on that other 80% to get more efficient. Or I guess the other way to say is just deal with the low-hanging fruit right now, and then get higher up the tree as I learn more about the systems and stuff. All right, I think I'm done, Randy.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you
Yes.
very much.
Have to follow the guy that has all the details. So my name's Ashley Sargent. Most of you guys know me. I started last Monday, so I've been here for a week. It's been a fun week. Everybody keeps looking at me like, "Are you crazy? Like, what you're doing this?" And then some HR stuff. But it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot in a very short amount of time, and to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing in my department right away. We are going to have a big kickoff to summer party, a glow party. So we're going to do a bunch of glow in the dark activities in the library with games and things like that. And then they're going to enjoy snow cones from Pahokee O's and then go over and have glow swim that night. So it'll be a fun little kickoff event. It's next week. It's the 29th. I believe that's the Wednesday, right after Memorial Day. And so we're going to do that. I think that'll be fun. We're going to be opening up the pool. We are working very hard to hire lifeguards. That is a bit of a struggle because there's an interest there, but
They didn't realize they had to swim.
yeah, they weren't aware that they had to swim and, be able to save somebody's life if they needed to. So we're struggling with that a little bit, but not bad. We have 4 that are ready to go, which is good.
Yeah.
We really would like 8, and then we'd like 2 additional people to be able to work at the little office at the pool. So those guys don't have to be certified, but 8. So that's the goal. We had 2 new ones show up today, and we'll see. I think it's going to end up just fine, but that's what we're going through right now, trying to get the pool open for summer. Splash pad open. As you guys know, it's so hot outside, so we've had tons of phone calls about our splash pad. I think everybody's just ready to use it. So we'll be adjusting hours so that everybody is able to use it. We have a lot of events going on at all of our facilities. I was very surprised at how often every day people call to use the facilities in town. It's a great thing. It's a great problem to have. Tonight, the band, Clewiston High School band, is at John Boy having their dinner and awards program. So we have almost every single day this week, plus the weekends. There's stuff going on. So we're busy, doing that. I'm busy kind of learning everything, learning everyone. It's a great thing, great problem for me because I know mostly everybody. So it hasn't been difficult to get things kicked off. Everybody's been super helpful, and I'm just really happy to be here. So.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your HR role?
Sure, I can. And Danny, if you want to.
Me today?
I did. So really, one of the things that we talked about from the very beginning was like the handbook. So I signed the handbook whenever I started here last week, and it was done in 2004. So it's 20 years, that we've had the same handbook. That's something that needs to be looked at. And I just so happen to be kind of a resident expert in handbooks. I've done a bunch of them. And for those that don't know, I have about 20, well, I'm going to tell you guys my age now, but I have about 23 years in HR. I work for U.S. Sugar. I work for TELUS Products over in Belglade, Hugh Branch in Belglade, and did HR for all of those companies. I did some contract work pretty recently for Glades Electric and did exactly things like that, the handbook, job descriptions, things that just need to be updated. Our job descriptions need to be looked at for sure, just to make sure we're covering and we're saying the right things in there. There's a lot of legal things around it, and I know that we have lots of good help in that department, but it'll be something that I can get ready and prepared, and then obviously our council will review it and make sure that we've covered everything. But there's just some things that we probably need to make sure that we're saying. So those are the big projects I think that I'd probably start out on, but it's also going to be day-to-day stuff. Like Danny said, today he had a question, so he called me and he asked me. And so start jumping into that too. So it's going to be a busy role, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Excited to have you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Ashley, do you have experience with insurance and things like that in different companies that you work for?
Not
in insurance?
No, not on that side really. I mean, there was always someone in a role wherever I was that really helped dealt with that.
Generalist.
When you're So medical and, the benefits side of it, in my last role, and that's what you're talking about, right? Yeah. So in my last role, I had to do it all. I had to do the medical, the benefits, everything else. But before that, I really didn't have a lot of, so I do have about 3.5 years experience in, making sure that we have the right companies that are supplying our insurance to us for short-term disability, long-term disability, medical, dental, things like that. So yes, not an extensive, thing for me as far as looking at it, but very much familiar with all of that.
Your last employer had to completely revamp their whole benefit structure, didn't he?
Yes. So, well, what happened is TELUS is partly owned by Florida Crystals and partly owned by the co-op, and they were doing all the benefits for TELUS for a while. And then I got hired in, and then they said, okay, you guys are going to go do it on your own. So we had to go out and find, our medical provider, dental, vision, short-term disability, all of those different things. And we did. We built the program around it. So, I shouldn't have said I don't have experience. It's just that it was something that, up until very recently, there was always a department that, was doing it for where I worked. So,
Right.
yeah.
What experience do you have with unions and negotiating labor agreements?
Well, I have a ton of experience doing that. So that's really what I did for U.S. Sugar. I was the director of industrial relations. I negotiated 8 different contracts for U.S. Sugar between U.S. Sugar internal, which they have a union, and then of course the railroads. They have a separate union, separate contract. So negotiated those contracts, handled the grievances, handled the day-to-day. Did that for the majority of my career at Sugar, which was 15 years.
Good.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad to be home. It was really good to get to come back, and I love being, less than 60 seconds. No, I don't speed. But I'm about 60 seconds away from my office, from my house, which is wonderful. I love that. I love being very close to home and getting to work every day with all the people that I get to live around. So it's good.
Glad to have you guys.
Thanks.
Good job, you guys. Anything else, Danny?
Can we get an update on talk about that, the union?
I don't have anything really to update you on today. I know it's still in the progress. Our labor council is handling the matter. I think there was some new information that came in literally like an hour before the meeting. I haven't had a chance to
No,
look it
that's
over.
fine. I've just
Yeah.
heard it.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you anyway, so
Check that one off.
mark that off.
Unless, Chief,
Sorry.
is there anything you wanted to add regarding the issue? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's being handled. I don't have anything to report on it this evening.
Refresh us there's a date.
So there was a initial hearing planned for, I want to say this week. I think it has been moved.
Okay.
And I know that our labor council has been in contact with the representative from FOP and going back and forth on some of the proposed bargaining units. And they just, I don't believe I believe they've reset hearing in front of. That's all I have to.
Once you get caught up on your email, you can
You'll have an
let Danny
update.
know, and he can let us know.
You
what's
will have an update by next month's meeting.
happening. Okay. Any other information from you tonight?
Only that I've been finalizing the 23-24 legislative report. I'll have that for you at next month's meeting as well. Update as any of the changes that are affecting municipalities. You'll get that report next month.
Okay, comments from City Commission. Commissioner Edmonds?
I'm excited to meet the new directors and I'm excited to have those positions filled. Looking forward to our summer. I was able to take my granddaughter, 19-month-old, to the splash pad. It was absolutely awesome. She had a blast. And other than that, I'm just trying to try to squeeze some time in here that we can make a vacation. So I'd like to know what dates, we're going to be here for June and July. That's all
Okay.
I have.
Yeah, other than the budget dates, which we might as well look at that now. Everyone has the sheet under their D tab. Looks like the first budget workshop. I'm sure you can give us a brief overview at the next meeting in June, but it looks like, well, you are going to give us a review June 20 at the 24th meeting. Looks like July 15th. Is that our budget meeting? And then from there, you can see down here in the middle, August 12th, August 26th, or July 29th, August 12th, August 19th, as needed. I mean, if we don't have to meet on one of those dates, that's fine. Typically, we've all missed the budget meeting because of vacation, so it's not a huge deal. You can get caught up.
Yeah, I just don't want to miss. I did miss one meeting, but I don't want to miss if I don't have to.
I have a question, JD. Is there a way to have a shared calendar here, just for city, so the clerk can update it and we're all aware? Events outside of meetings, so that's one I need to do.
Okay, is that all?
Good.
Thompson?
Something I've talked to the chief and Danny about here recently is it's an ongoing problem. It's getting bigger, it seems, is commercial vehicles in residential areas. We've already had one culvert collapse on us because of semis going over it. We have businesses in town that keep semis parked there on a regular basis. We got businesses that have semis parked there on a regular basis. So last night we had 2 semis parked at the lake. The chief sent an officer out, but it's public parking. How are you going to enforce it? Saginaw, there's a semi that stays parked there on a regular basis. I think we need to look into, one, keep up the enforcement we're doing, but what we can do to limit that. And some other areas, we got chickens running all over town. It's getting worse. If we don't stop it now, it's going to be harder to stop in the future. We have people coming from other cities moving here. That's great. We want them here, but Clewiston looks like it does because well, we're Clewiston. We're different. There's a reason why we don't look like Western Palm Beach County, and that's one of the reasons. We don't want to go down that road. I don't want to go down that road. So if we can look at other cities have like parking at parks. We can have a contract with whoever's on rotation. If you're parked there after 11, you're not getting a warning. You're getting hooked up and towed away. Fixing to redo the lake, the parking up there. The last thing we want is semis up there tearing up the road. We already have going to the lake already. There shouldn't be any reason for a semi to go past the end of Francisco. Sorry, there is no reason. Not anymore. There's drainage underneath that road already that's collapsed. That's why that dip is there. We're going to replace it and redo that road. It's been years since we did any road work. It's significant in Clewiston and it needs it, and we don't want to do anything to make it work. But some cities also have, if you don't have a bill of lading and you're delivering something, you're not on the side road. 27, unless you're delivering. Those are things we need to look at and make a decision, because if we don't stop it now, it's going to be harder in the future. And something that's changed too that can alleviate that is there's 2 places in town now that you can park a semi. Okay.
Yep. We're telling them that. I think, Chief, we started ticketing a lot of these guys because we warned them Also, I know we got the one today, and
So, I mean, typically the approach from an enforcement angle is if we've never dealt with that particular person before, we typically get a warning, they're asked to move it. If they comply, it's kind of like no harm, no foul. If we've dealt with this person before and they didn't essentially heed the warning, then they're issued a citation. They're also forced to move. We have had chronic violators, and we tow them. It's pretty costly for them, but the reality is, that's kind of the progressive type enforcement angle that we've been taking so far. The folks at the levee, the reality is that it's public parking. It's not illegal to park there, so there really was nothing to enforce. Some signage or some other method that we could enforce them or stop them from parking there is certainly possible in the future. But as it stands right now, it's perfectly legal for them to go up there and park. That's so. If the police go out there, there's nothing to actually enforce. They're legally parked there.
what do you charge? What's the citation?
It varies. I think as it goes up, I want to say it starts at $100.
Yeah, if you can hit them in the wallet, that might.
And we do semis
yeah.
at the lake. We do no overnight semi parking.
Yeah.
Well,
that is in place.
I talked to one of the officers, and he brought up a good point that kind of slipped through our ordinance. We had an ordinance plus a state. They just passed one parks. We didn't do anything for parking at the parks. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're parked at a park,
Can't do overnight at the levee.
Yeah, if you're
Well, but
sleeping
our-
in your car,
our parks, where does the person do it there at 2 o'clock in the morning, commercial or not? It's no good.
You say parking at the park.
Any park, whether it's the lake or other parks.
if you're sleeping in a parked car, now you're camping, and that would be illegal. All right, and so we would force you to leave. But if you went up to the lake, parked your semi, and walked away, and that's where you were going to keep it for the weekend while you went on vacation, currently the law permits that.
And if it catches on, that'd be 20 trucks parked up there.
Yeah, so then that's
And
We need to do something.
we do have a route for the trucks, Francisco and WCO, and they've been told again, and I think they're doing it this time.
The one that collapsed that culvert, you go there on the
Well,
weekend, they got
that
six-
guy's got a mechanic shop.
got
I mean,
six
it's an
trucks lined up.
industrial area, and I agree. But
Parks
on
on the
that
road.
too, those culverts are older than us. I mean, they've been there. They're gone. I mean, so that's going to happen. But again, it is due to the truck traffic, and it has increased. But they've been told that you come down Francisco to Aztec up. All of them have been told, and they were told 2 weeks ago again. And we are going to post some signs as soon as we get time.
I see- on a
We
regular
do
basis,
have a limit in which we can post. Sorry, Chief, don't you go back. We can post it, and the size of the truck, and if they're down, then we can ticket these guys. So we're going to post signs here shortly. Weight limit signs. No trucks. I mean, we got to do what we got to do or try. But it has become an issue, and we will have to work on it for sure. And we are. We're writing these guys tickets.
And it's worse on the weekend. A lot worse on the weekend. And I know Debbie started working partial days on weekends, but they know. I got one right across the canal from me, 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
I'll come in myself.
yeah. I was well from a complaint-driven perspective.
And I hate bugging you about it.
You don't hate bugging me. I'd rather take care of the problem. But honestly, people in the community do call us, and we send an officer right away, and they take care of the issue. I mean, so it's not. I mean, that's what we're here for. It's definitely not an inconvenience. It's literally why you pay taxes.
He's also caught a few without permits, correct? Yeah, so he's out there.
when it comes to can it and should it be more of a law enforcement rather than code enforcement, because code enforcement, the time span is very lengthy, the labor involved is very lengthy, and if it was the PD that was handling it, it wouldn't be so bad. Well, my point was Moss Towing bills a lot more than that fee schedule.
I'm with you. I understand law enforcement is a direct, it's a solution right now as opposed to a lengthy code enforcement. And we'll never disagree on that. I'd rather you call me because we could take care of the problem in 30 seconds as opposed to going through a long, lengthy code process. The only time we would ever refer it back to code enforcement is if it's parked in the backyard of somebody's home and it's on private property. We're not going to try to have a tow truck go back there, and tow it away. That would be, something more that code would. But if it's on the street or it's in a parking spot that we can hook a tow truck to it, we're the easy, faster solution for sure.
Another issue that's a growing problem is people living in trailers behind people's homes. I understand it's very expensive. We have homes with 5 families in it. But that's just something we can't allow. I can ride you around town and show you many homes that have trailers behind in their backyards and people are living in them. It's going to get worse. It has got worse. Debbie's come across several of them. They're out there.
Called 2 last week.
We've had several that's dug and tapped into a sewer line. The new privacy fence. Yeah, they built that after they backed that trailer in there. They built that.
What if my drone could help you see it from the road?
Yeah. Illegal for me to use a drone.
Yeah, I got one.
From the road.
or side yard.
Or side yard or easement. Anywhere that a right to be, I can drive. Believe me, I do. I'm peeking through broken fences.
We can look at the power lines.
When drones first came on the scene and they were unregulated, it was awesome. Yeah, nowadays they're just very restricted.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be the island of Palm Beach, but we have a great city here, and I'm going to maintain it. And I don't want some of these outside influences changing it to where they came to look like what they came from. I'll just be blunt. We're Clewiston. We want to keep what we got. We've got a great city, and if you want to come here, you're welcome. If you're not welcome to come here and make it look like where you can. Other than that, positive side. Ecstatic to have our new staff here. I never dreamed we'd be able to get so well qualified people here. Especially finance, very hard position to fill in municipalities, the hardest, that and the clerk. And I'm very excited about the future of our city, and I think we're going to be stronger than we ever have before moving forward.
Commissioner Haslett?
Just excited to welcome both of you guys on. We're excited to have you and look forward to working with you.
That's it?
No, I don't ever have much to say.
No, I ditto all those things. I'm excited to have those positions filled and, with local people. So that's a good thing. So if you don't do your job, we'll tell on you. No.
We come to your house.
No, we are excited and we're moving forward. And it's really a blessing the way things fell in place. And I was talking to Danny about it, and he was saying, "Man, you just aren't going to believe what happened." And I think that's just a testament to the Lord blessing us. And I did want to bring up the CRA advisory board. I know that we're due to have a meeting. I think of both boards. I think you might have brought it up.
We are.
So we're
trying. We can't get the dates right.
getting those dates. Okay.
Yeah. I told them if they can't meet, we're taking over.
Yeah. But no,
we are trying to.
I would just encourage the commissioners, if we have any questions about the budget or you want information before our first budget meeting, which looks like it's July 15th, email Randy, Danny, and information you may want to know before we start discussion. I look forward to a smooth process through the budget. With that, if anyone has anything else, well, we will be adjourned.
Good deal. Good job.